For millions of Americans, Lawrence Welk represented something almost impossibly wholesome: smiling musicians, polished suits, champagne bubbles, and Saturday nights that felt safe. But behind that carefully controlled television image was a man whose real life was far more complicated, not because he was secretly living another romantic life, as sensational stories sometimes imply, but because the public barely saw the exhausting world that existed behind his perfect smile. And once you look closer, the phrase double life takes on a very different meaning. Welk was born into a hardworking immigrant family in North Dakota, and music became his escape. As a young man, he left the family farm and pursued a career that initially offered very little security. He learned to survive by adapting, traveling, performing wherever people would listen, and slowly building his own band. According to the National Park Service, he spent roughly 3 decades working his way through weddings, festivals, theaters, radio, and dance halls before television finally changed everything. Then came the transformation. His light, danceable style became known as champagne music, and in 1955, The Lawrence Welk Show arrived on ABC. Suddenly, the struggling musician had become a national television personality. Families invited him into their living rooms every week. But here's what most people never realized: maintaining that cheerful image demanded enormous discipline. While audiences saw effortless entertainment, Welk was constantly working. His family moved with him, and his wife, Fern, became part of the private world, supporting a career that required endless travel. They had 3 children and remained married from 1931 until Welk's death in 1992. And then came the first major test. In 1971, ABC canceled the show, believing Welk's older audience was no longer attractive to advertisers. For many entertainers, that would have been the end. Welk refused to disappear. He took the program into syndication, and remarkably, it eventually reached more than 250 stations, more than had carried it on ABC. That may have been the real double life: the television grandfather everyone thought they knew, and the relentless businessman and performer fighting to stay relevant behind the curtain. Honestly, that makes his story more human, not less. Welk wasn't secretly someone else. He was a man balancing public perfection with private responsibility, constantly protecting the world he had built. He eventually stepped away, but his music never completely disappeared. Reruns kept introducing new generations to his strange, gentle universe of bubbles and waltzes. And perhaps that is the most revealing part of Lawrence Welk's story. Sometimes the hidden life isn't a scandal, it's the struggle nobody noticed behind the smile. If this story made you see Welk differently, share your thoughts in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more untold stories from television and Hollywood history.